Hello. Great to have you here. My name is Shauna. Today's reading is a general love forecast for November 2025. As always, take the messages that resonate and release anything that doesn't. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay connected with upcoming readings. Let's see what's headed your way. I'm getting for you, first of all, is I almost feel like something might have happened to you to this present moment where you're cutting ties and letting go. And I feel like you're doing it in a very nonchalant manner, which leads me to believe that whoever it was, whatever situation you'd had to leave behind, you're not looking back at it with regrets, or at least you feel as if you don't owe anybody an explanation. So picking up the pieces, walking away with something that might have happened very, very recently, or at least it's good advice for you to keep in mind coming in for this month, okay? I also feel it's a situation where somebody was asking too many questions. That's what I was getting. Like somebody was asking too many questions and it might not have anything to do with them. So you're kind of shrugging it off and you're not giving them the satisfaction of being invasive, or, if the answers are not coming from you, then it basically means that it wasn't in the they didn't have the right to demand those answers. That's what one of the things that I was feeling. So I feel like a lot of letting go energy, a lot of starting over, a lot of new things coming through. And overall, it seems to me to be very, very positive. But we do have as well past energies coming through, wanting answers, wanting some type of communication as well. Okay, so let's see what the rest of the cards have in store for you. There's a heavy, heavy air sign energy coming through. So air signs are people that in general do ask a lot of questions. They're like the investigators. They're the people that need to constantly know, understand. They're trying to make sense of a situation. So I feel like, as a water sign, a lot of water signs in general tend to keep a lot of things in. They tend to keep it hidden as well. So I feel it would be in your best interest if you want to verbalize your feelings a little bit more, only if you want to, because I feel like a lot of you are thinking like, oh, I don't need to explain myself. I know what I'm doing. I'm on my own in this world, so I don't feel like I need to, talk things out. I feel like you want to keep things bottled up, or at least you want to keep things in, and you don't want other people knowing what you're going through as well. But I feel like sometimes it's a good idea with people that you trust to talk about things. It helps us refine. It helps us to define what it is that's really bothering us, or how it helps us problem solve. If we're able to verbalize it, the solution will come to us as well. Okay, so do that with people that you trust. All right, so first of all, let's talk about the communication issues. We do have here the Princess of Swords and the King of Cups. Now, the Princess of Swords is an external person in your environment, and it deals with communication. It deals with messages coming through, and possibly messages coming through from an air sign. So air signs are Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. This can be their sun, moon, or rising, or it's somebody who is very they might be a little bit of an instigator, or they might not have all the information and they jump to conclusions. And I feel like this is somebody external to your environment. There's some communication coming through from them to you, and you're assessing this situation, and you're showing up here as the King of Cups, where you are very calm, collected, and in control of the situation. You know that they're being a little bit naive, that they're jumping the gun without doing the necessary background research in order to arrive at a good hypothesis, or at a good formulation of the facts. So you feel like they're not there yet, and you're on the sidelines kind of looking into at this situation. I definitely feel this. There's a bit of an age difference between you and the other person that you're dealing with. So this can be somebody, if it's a romantic partner, I do feel that there's somebody that is giving ultimatums, or there's somebody that is wanting some type of information as to where the relationship is headed, as to what's going to happen between the two of you as a unit. And if it's not a relationship partner, I definitely feel it's just communication coming through where you are sitting back and you're allowing the other person to verbalize what it is they're feeling, what everything that they're thinking, so that you can make a decision. So either way, I don't feel like a decision is going to be made on your end until you figure out all the facts, or at least you feel as if they're making the decision, they don't have all the facts straight just yet, and you're kind of pushing them along just so they can do the background, the preliminary research on their own. There's a little bit of confrontation, but you're not buying into it. You might get communication from people who might want to ruffle your feathers, but you're taking a step back and you're not engaging in this situation because you know that they have a habit of always instigating, or they have a habit of digging too deep, or digging where they shouldn't be digging. So I feel like somebody might be a little bit nosy. It doesn't have to be an air sign, because we do have the king too. So it could just be somebody in your environment. Possibly there's an age difference, okay? And they're digging where they have no business digging. So I feel like it's a little bit of an instigator type of energy happening in your midst. Now, in terms of your public image and basically the way that others are looking at you, we do have the World card, which is a very, very intensely positive card, as well as the Eight of Wands. So the World card deals with communication as well. It deals with travel. It also deals with publishing. So there are a lot of projects that are gaining momentum, that are gaining traction, and you're starting to see things pay off. So on the work environment, there are things that are, you're connecting with other people, you're expanding your ideas, you're expanding your social networks, you're also expanding your contact base. There might be travel associated with this. So for those of you who are traveling, who are thinking about travel, or at least planning it, there might, if you're not even planning it, I feel like there are travel opportunities coming through from your external environment. And I feel for a lot of you, you might be going somewhere. I don't feel like it's brand new. I feel like you might be returning to a an old haunt. You might be traveling to see old friends and family members in your environment, and it might get you in contact with, some people from your past. It can be negative or positive, but I do feel traveling in general is something that is greatly in store for you. If you are wrapping up projects, if you have been working very, very diligently to get things off the ground, all of them are coming to fruition. All of them are coming full circle. So the World card is a completion card. It's things that we've worked really hard on, and we're starting to see them pay off, and we're starting to see things come full circle. Okay. In terms of the dating environment, but with both of these cards, I definitely feel the World is a person who is very well admired by the people in their midst. So I feel like this is the energy that you're projecting, someone who is very knowledgeable, who's very well read, who is also in a position to give very, very solid advice. So I feel like a lot of people might be contacting you, asking for some solid advice from you as well, or at least seeking out your company. They do want to be in your presence because they know they have a lot to learn from you. I also feel as if for a lot of you, you are wanting to leave a situation. So I'm feeling almost like you're trying to get a restart in some areas of your life, and you're trying to move on. You're trying to not look back and not be reminded of something that just happened in your past. But I feel like if you're, for example, getting not be up to date with whatever is happening in your life, so it feels like they're digging up the past because they don't know that you have severed ties with the past. So every time they dig it up, it feels like it's a sore spot. So if you don't want to deal with this situation, just know that it is okay to not engage in conversation. If they're really good friends and you're not ready to talk about a situation, you feel like, every time they ask about a certain person, about a certain event that recently transpired or expired in your life, you feel like it's rubbing against a sore spot and you'd rather not deal with this right now, you can come back and explain it to them later. Just know that it's okay to say that. Just tell them, they will understand, because I feel like the communication is generally very positive, but because the same issues are being brought up, it's preventing you from moving on. Okay, so just know sometimes it is mainly our sensitivities that make situations worse than it is. So I feel like it would be in your best interest to just, send out a text message and just say, this is a sensitive topic. I don't want to talk about it right now, and leave that alone, okay? So what's coming in terms of communication once again, and I definitely feel this is more of a soul connection with another person. We have the King of Swords as well as the Six of Cups. So we are in a period of Mercury in retrograde, and that's going to happen starting on the 15th, when Mercury goes into its shadow period, I believe. So I feel like every time Mercury goes into retrograde, we are opening up this portal for exes and people from our past to come back in. So this month is not going to be an exception. The Six of Cups usually indicates a blast from the past, and you're the second sign that has gotten this. And this is the third video, and you're the second sign already. So I definitely feel for those of you, there is a very, very strong soul connection happening here. And this can be with an air sign. And I don't feel like this is a new person. I feel like this is somebody that you've known for quite some time. If you have been romantically involved with them, I definitely feel they're making a comeback in your life in some way. I definitely feel there is almost like a peace offering. And I feel almost like the other person is very, very, I almost feel like the other person is guarded. They're guarded about something. So if you are trying to reach out to this other person, so for example, if you've left a situation behind and you're moving on and you're trying to reach out to an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, I do feel they are kind of on the defense about this situation. So some type of peace offering or some type of big gesture is going to be required of you. On the other side of the coin, if this is somebody reaching out to you, I feel like you yourself might want some type of reconciliation. You might want some type of apology. You might even want some type of grand gesture from their end, just to make sure that they are sincere before you let them back into your life. And I feel like it could also be family members as well and things like that. But I definitely sense there is some type of discord in the energy that both of you are bringing onto the table. There might be disagreements in the past, some type of falling out. And as a result of it, it's kind of, it requires grand gestures from both sides to get things, to smooth some things out, okay? Now, in terms of your financial situation, we have some great cards here that deals with, first of all, Nine of Pentacles and the Five of Swords. The Nine of Pentacles is basically having the financial abundance, and this can be through your main job or through self-employment opportunities, okay? So this is basically having the financial backing and having freedom from financial worries, where you are able to enjoy leisure time. You are able to relax and take some R&R and, have some time to yourself where you are very, very content, happy, and carefree. Um, in this deck, whenever I see this woman, I feel almost like she or he, I'm reading this as a general energy. I feel like for a lot of you Pisces, you have everything that you could possibly ask for in your life except for love. Okay, so this basically is somebody that is very, very ambitious, who's very successful, who has a very good public image. They project an aura that they are very competent and confident. And as a result, you do exude this air where other people might be a little bit intimidated and they might not know how to approach you. Um, Not in a bad way. This is not something that you're consciously doing, I don't feel. But whenever this card shows up, it seems to me like it's somebody who's very self-sufficient. They've built their empire from the ground up and they've never had to rely on other people. I also feel because it's coupled with the Five of Swords, and the Five of Swords is basically, both of these cards indicate to me, well, your financial situation is wonderful, so I don't feel you need to worry, but I'm reading this, more as energies, where it's kind of like I'd rather be on my own and than be sucked down in negative relationships. I'd rather be on my own than to be in a relationship where I'm constantly used and abused and, lied, cheated on, and things like that. So I feel like you are turning a little bit cold and a little bit jaded, okay? I don't feel I don't feel that what I'm sensing as well is in the work environment, there is also almost like a cutthroat environment that you're operating in where it's like every man for himself. And I feel like if it's a work environment, it is really financially lucrative. But in terms of, finding emotional fulfillment in the work environment, just make sure you're not that you don't put financial gains above your own personal enjoyment when it comes to really waking up every day feeling good about going to work. So if it's just like a financial nest egg that you're building, that's fine. But if you see this as a job where you're kind of like dreading going to work, it might be time for you to find a more um, emotionally fulfilling profession or work environment. Okay, I feel there's a little bit of a cutthroat energy, and I feel like you're very financially stable. You are in a position where you are possibly working as a consultant, giving a lot of advice to people and being the voice of reason with whomever it is that you're interacting with. So you're somebody that others look up to in the work environment, okay? In terms of your advice, we do have the Ten of Wands, the Four of Wands, and the Two of Wands. All of these are fire energies, and it's basically things are de-escalating. Things are getting better and things are moving in a very, very positive trajectory. So whatever situation that you've had to contend with in the past, there is going to be some type of a communication. There is going to be some type of like reconciliation between you and another person. It's going to make you feel quite good. You're not jumping right in and accepting it at face value. You are demanding, you're putting your foot down, you're demanding more of a gesture. I'm also, I feel like you were living with another person, sharing like a house together. And I feel like there's a property. You're living there with another person. There might have been some falling out, somebody skipping out on the bills, and now you're kind of like putting your foot down and you're telling them, take a hike. I feel like that was something that happened. You're kind of like the gatekeeper, and you're not playing around this time. So I definitely feel that situation is happening. And likewise, I feel like if that living situation was just untenable, you're moving on and you're trying problems and things like that. You're definitely moving to a new environment. There's travel here, and I feel like some type of reunion with family members, some type of moving property, or at least, achieving great financial abundance or Tory card when it comes to achievements like personal major milestones on the career front. So this is a very, very important month for you to not let the emotional things in your life weigh you down. So really divert your energy when it comes to your career, your finances, and realizing the big contributions that you're making in other people's lives when it comes to your work environment. Your public image is very, very well received, and that's where you're going to find a lot of pride, strength, and come into your own sense of self-worth. So focus on that and let the residual energies when it comes to troublesome people, and especially romantic relationship partners that aren't really where things are kind of hot and cold and you're not really sure, like firm footed about where you stand with them. Okay, so let that, lay that on the back burner for now and focus more on the achievement parts for this month. I definitely feel burdens are being lifted. We're going from a 10 to a 4 to a 2. So things are being de-escalated. A lot of reconciliation is happening, or a lot of communication breakthrough, especially for the second half of this month, which is interesting because that's when Mercury in retrograde happens. So I definitely feel something is being revisited, or at least there's going to be some type of resolution coming through. If you've been dealing with some type of jarring here, it's going to have a very, very favorable resolution. I definitely feel some type of planning for a voyage, possibly planning to go travel somewhere for a wedding, a family reunion, or some type of wedding as well. So that's going to be where things are really, really favorable for you. In terms of the relationship front, and I'm also going to do the relationship spread, but what I'm feeling here is the Two of Wands usually indicates to me some type of a long distance relationship, or at least there's offer on the table of a long distance relationship. You might have met someone very recently when you weren't, you were like caught unawares, and they might not live in your general vicinity. So there is opportunities now with your financial situation being very stable. Projects are being wrapped up and finished up. So you might have some leisure time to travel, and you might coordinate travel with a romantic partner, or like with a friend. So let's see your love reading, Pisces. And I hope you all had a wonderful birthday as well. The second, it is a non-traditional deck. So let's see what's in store for Pisces for love. Yeah, so we have the Ten of Wands again. So this is going to be a lot of work on your plate. Options as well. Don't let work interfere with, well, I mentioned earlier, it is a good month to focus on achievements and things like that. But I feel that if you want to find love, if you want to have that in your life, we also need to prioritize, okay? So I feel like this might be a situation where work is interfering in your dating life or your love relationships. It can be it can cause stress, strain, and discord in your relationships if you have a significant other in your life as well. So keep your temper and keep your feelings in check. And if you're stressed out, just take some time off, and try not to bring work home. And what I mean by that is, it's not just physical work, but don't talk about work in a home environment if you are like stressed out about it, okay? So well, the good news is I feel that you are going to be very well received on the dating front. For those of you who are single, you might have multiple offers, and there's definitely competition from other people. There's a lot of positive energy here as well. So I don't feel it's going to be an interesting dating month, at least for those of you who are out actively dating. But I feel like it is work oriented for those of you who are in coupled relationships, like who are in coupled or stable relationships. It's more work oriented. So make sure you take the time out to go on dates, do the dating thing, re-inject some passion into the. Let's see, we need, this one is, yeah, we need one more card. Okay, so you've got the World again, as well as the Moon. So you have some good cards. Okay, so first off, for you dating or singles, or even in committed relationship, I feel almost like there might have been some type of argument in the past, very recent past. For those of you who are in relationships, there might be a situation where you're on guard, and not in a bad way, but you're kind of hurt and you're kind of recoiling. And I feel that it would be important for you to express not only that you're hurt, but what exactly it is that made you feel unappreciated, unwanted, or made you feel hurt. So I feel like it's really important for us to understand, like, sometimes we're very quick to blame the other person, like, you did this, you did this. But it's also like, because you did this, I feel this way. So that we can better understand actions and consequences, so that whoever you're interacting with can better understand how their actions affect you on an emotional level. So I hope that makes sense, because I feel like this is a card about defense. Okay, this is a card about blocking our heart, hiding behind other things, using other things as a distraction so that we don't feel negative emotions. Okay. And I know that on a deep level, as a water sign, you feel things on a very, very deep level. And when you're in a situation where you feel slighted, or where you feel rejected, you tend to recoil. You don't lash out like a Scorpio, but you tend to recoil, and then you tend to withdraw. And other people might not understand that it's because of their actions. They might not understand. So it's just, I feel like you're very sensitive, more so than other people. So other people might not feel like they're doing anything wrong. So it's important for you to at least understand, or at least try to verbalize what it is that they're doing that makes you feel this way. I feel that will open up some type of positive breakthrough when it comes to, being able to relate with another person, or at least getting the other person to understand where you're coming from. If you have difficulties verbalizing these things, write a letter. Okay, write it out, email, some type of physical letter, at least journal, so that you can better connect the dots. And I'm sensing like it's something that you don't want to talk about, because it's it's a hot trigger topic for you. So I feel that it would be in your best interest to at least journal, or at least, write them a pretend letter. Don't send it, just write it out. And then when you read it over and over and over again, and when you feel ready, then you can show it to them. So for those of you in couple relationship who might have been dealing with some strife, I feel like it's just a way of relating between you and your partner, and they might be a little bit more abrasive and not realize it. They might hurt your feelings without realizing it. Okay, so that's what I'm sensing here. And I feel like they might have it started out as a joke, something went too far, and now you're recoiling or you're withdrawing. So don't do that. Just try to get to the bottom of it. Okay, or at least have that channel of communication, open that up again, if that's the situation. For those of you who are single and looking, I definitely feel the same energy where you are protective of yourself. Um, I feel like there are a lot of people who are vying for your attention. Okay, this is a card about competition, and it can be literal competition where other people are wanting to be in your company. There's communication coming through for sure on the dating front, but I feel like you're keeping yourself a little bit guarded. What's crowning this reading, and what's on your mind, basically? What's like the one thing that you're thinking about? We do have the moon card, and the moon indicates intuition. This is a card about knowing that there's more to the story, and knowing as well that there's some type of information that might be hidden, or that you don't have all the information just yet, and waiting on it. So rather than taking more of a combative approach, I feel like a lot of you are taking a step back. You're assessing, and you're not making a move because you feel as if you don't have all the answers yet to make a good decision. So a lot of you might have multiple people who are vying for your attention. As a result of it, you might just take a step back and not budge, because you do want the ones that are sincere to come through. I feel as well, a lot of you might be dealing with fire signs, possibly with the air sign earlier, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, or like a fire sign because of the Ten of Wands and also the Five of Wands. So that indicates to me, the fire signs are Sagittarius, Leo, and Aries. The other qualifier card here we have is the Sun, and the Sun indicates emotional success. This is emotional happiness. This is a card about success as well, and this is a card about basically having the spotlight on you. It might not make you feel completely comfortable, but I do feel overall on the dating front, it is a card about childlike energy where you feel exuberant, where you feel as if you can conquer the world and then nothing can go wrong. Okay, so what's coming through as well is I do feel you are dealing with a lot of fiery energy in your midst, and fire signs are opposite from your element. So what that does is that they tend to be a little bit more aggressive. So I feel that because of it, if you're interacting with too many fire signs, you might feel a little bit like energetically, physically, and energetically drained. If you're dealing with a lot of air signs, they tend to ask a lot of questions, so you might feel like mentally drained. But I feel like it's more of a physical, like they're draining you physically. Mainly, it could be because of their energy level, and you're more of a receptive sign. So if you're dealing with a lot of fire people around you or a lot of aggressive energy, you have to withdraw in order to protect yourself. So which makes sense because they might be a little bit more aggressive. They might be a little bit more unfiltered. So they say whatever comes to mind. And I feel like they have a great sense of humor, or at least they really try to make you laugh. Okay, so it's good to be around them because I do sense that they're very no nonsense. What you see is pretty much what you get. So trust that they're honest. All right. In terms of your foundation here, we do have the World card. And the World card, as a major arcana, it's a card about being in a environment where you are attracting a lot of people, where you are basically in the public eye, and you're drawing a lot of people to you. It is a card about completion, completing old karma so that you can begin a new phase in your life. I feel like a lot of you have recently started dating, like very, very recently, and you're not completely sure-footed about how this is going to go. There's a shyness about you where you might have, like, gotten out of a really long, exhausting relationship. You're getting yourself on the dating market, and you're really excited about this, but at the same time there's almost a sense of shyness, coyness associated with it. And it's almost like it's it almost feels to me like you want a physical relationship. And in the past, you might have wanted like, stable relationship, like monogamous relationships. But now I feel like a lot of you are thinking about possibly just having like a one night stand.